Horror is probably one of the most popular forms of content on YouTube. People love spooky and scary things, so it's only natural that one of the most used websites would have a ton of spooky videos on it. And on October 26, 2015, we would get a glimpse at a genre that would take the internet by storm. Local 58 is a horror web series that revolves around a television network that gets hijacked by unknown entities. The series blew up quickly because of the use of super cool and interesting VHS filters. Although, it wouldn't be until 2021 for this genre to blow up even further. The first episode of the Mandela catalog was uploaded on August 9th, 2021, and it skyrocketed in success. I feel like it's safe to say that this series is what really made analog horror blow up, and after the series blew up, a ton of other analog horror series would be uploaded, and most of them were just carbon copies of each other. So I guess it's obvious that I'm not the biggest fan when it comes to analog horror, so why am I even talking about a series of a genre that I don't like? Because believe it or not, this series does different things and actually disturbs me. Yay! But what is this series? The channel that uploaded the videos is called UrbanSPOOK, and the series is called The Painter. The first video is called Faces and was released on November 3rd, 2022. Before we begin, I want to state two things. Number one, I'm aware of the things in this series that many people dislike about it, so I'll try my best to address the issues it has, especially with the third installment in the series. Number two, the series gets really disturbing when it comes to detailing the murders. I'll try my best not to describe too many things, but with that, let's just begin. As I said before, the first episode is called Faces. The video opens with a warning message telling the viewer that this video is going to be spooky. The video continues to explain the 3 deaths of missing individuals. These 3 people being Carla Gray, Jackie Graham, and James Miller. We are shown 3 paintings of these victims. These paintings are going to be the main spooky factor for the rest of the series. Each painting shows the victim and the way they were killed by the killer. After these 3 paintings are shown, we are shown even more paintings. These paintings are going to be important later, so I'll return to them when I have to talk about them in the other videos. After the other paintings were shown, 4 photos were sent to the police. One of the photos is just titled Jimmy. Jimmy wasn't one of the previous victims, so this photo stands out. But we'll have to watch the other videos to find out more information, so let's just move on. But before we get into this video, you probably realize that the first video was rather lacking in terms of anything going on, especially since it's just a slideshow with words. I believe this helps and breaks the project as a whole. It helps build fear as you slowly stare at the changing slides, but it comes across as lazy. There's a ton of other projects out there that do a much better job with editing and presentation. I'll give my full review later, but this series definitely doesn't compare to other analog horror series when it comes to editing and presentation. Anyways, the next video, Lighthouse, opens with a message saying that Officer Bill Collins and his family went missing in between the 2 videos. It seems like Bill has been a target of the killer for some time. I believe this is because Bill found a painting from the killer inside his own house. After Bill and his family went missing, the police arrived at his house to find one of Bill Collins' daughters dead in the attic. 12 days later, the family car was found by the ocean side. Inside the car was a painting titled Long Neck Angel. And after doing some more investigating, the police were led to an old lighthouse. Inside the lighthouse was the burnt body of a teenager named Daniel Williams. If we look back at the Faces video, we can see the Daniel painting titled Daniel After the Fire. After the police continue to explore the lighthouse, they discover 2 more bodies belonging to Jennifer and Lisa White. After they explore the tunnels, they find a barrel in the corner that has a yucky smell. They check the barrel and find the mangled remains of the Collins family. Once again, there are photos shown at the end of the video. These photos show each member of the Collins family. But there was a secret 4th photo that depicts an unknown person. I, and many others, believe that this is the killer. But believe it or not, that's all for this video. After watching both these videos, you can probably tell that these don't really have a super gripping story. It's mostly just shock value. But I believe that was the point. These first few videos, especially one of the next ones, are purely shock value. So there's not too much to talk about. Let's just continue on to the next video. The next video is titled In the Walls. And let me just get this out of the way. I ain't saying half of the shit featured in this video out loud, so just be warned that things in this video are about to get pretty stomach grossy, smelly, not yummy-y. Especially since this video gets most hate for being that one video. I'll explain my opinion on this video after, but let's just continue. The video opens with a message telling the viewer that a pair of twins had gone missing 10 days earlier, these 2 twins being Corey and Margaret Beck. 5 days later, their bodies were found in an old paper mill factory. But their bodies were not the way you'd expect. The killer decided to swap the top half of Margaret and the bottom half of Corey. The other halves could not be found. And yes, these 2 twins have paintings from the Faces video, and I'm not about to say that one out loud. After a ton of detail about the murder, some I'd rather never ever say out loud, we get to learn some backstory of what happened. A week before the murder, Corey even dared to stay a night at an old spooky cabin. Corey brought a digital camera with him, and his stupid friends waited outside for him. After only 4 minutes, Corey ran out of the cabin screaming that he'd seen a face. The police decided to investigate the cabin and found a crawl space connected to a wardrobe. They also found Corey's digital camera. They decided to check what was on it. The first few images are nothing. Oh, Jesus Christ, that ugly son of a bitch. Homie actually needs a haircut. What? Anyways, after reviewing the images, the police believe that the face is connected to the murders. Well, duh. But that's all for this video, and after watching it again, I kinda just realized how disgusting some of the things in this series are. But you know, let's just move on to the next video. The next video is titled The Clue. The video opens with a little information about Sean Kane. We are told he helped the police investigate and locate the victims featured in the paintings. We are also told that he assisted in finding Tom Harris's body. The killer had climbed into Tom's apartment using a drain pipe because apparently he's Spider-Man. In the middle of the apartment, a giant pile of wax could be found. You can only imagine what's in it. Surprise, surprise, inside the wax was the body of Tom Harris. And if we go back to the Faces video, Tom has a painting in that video too. I'll put it on screen now. 1 week after the incident, investigator Sean went missing. The killer broke into the family's house and broke the family dog's legs. That's the worst crime committed in this series. After the police followed a blood trail, they discovered that Sean had written the number 2 on his doorframe, but a popular theory around this video's release was that there could be 2 killers. You know, if you think about it, I guess it would make sense if there was 2 killers, because you know, how can this man just paint this shit super quickly? Homie must have watched a lot of Bob Ross. After the police discovered the 2, they also found another painting. This painting is titled Man in the Pipes. It seems that the killer had broken into the house through the basement, but Sean had installed a security camera, so we get another look at what the killer looks like. But the picture of this killer looks odd. It looks much different from the other pictures we've seen. So seeing different pictures and paintings helps support the theory of 2 killers, but it seems this is the end of the video, so let's just continue to the next one. The next video is titled The Witness. The video begins with some information about Tina Rosenberg. Tina, her sister, and her boyfriend decided to take a road trip for Tina's 20th birthday, but during the road trip, they mysteriously went missing. The police found Jack's car in the woods just 2 days prior. Inside the car were signs of struggle and, of course, a painting. The title of the painting is Flower Face Flora. The painting shares the same name as Tina's sister, Flora, but the body of Flora, or the other 2, was not near the painting, so the police had to look around the forest. While searching the surrounding area, police heard distant screams. Following the sounds of screaming, the police found what they were looking for. Tina was tied to a tree with major injuries, but still alive. The body of Flora could also be seen near Tina. Tina had informed the police that the killer was still in the area, but no one could be found. After escorting Tina from the scene, the police returned to the car and found another painting. The painting was titled Long Jack. The painting was referring to Jack, Tina's boyfriend, but Jack's body could not be located. The police decided to interview Tina to hopefully find something useful. After interviewing Tina, the police drew a sketch of the murderer based off of Tina's description. The picture shows the face we've seen a couple times before, but the face is different from the one we've seen in the clue. After the sketch slowly fades, the video ends. This video and the previous video have done a pretty good job at expanding the story overall, but there's still just a little too much shock value, at least in my opinion. But with that, let's just move on. The next video is titled Pigs. Pigs opens with some information on former police officer Ian Ford and his family's disappearance. When the police arrived on the scene, they immediately discovered an awful stench coming from the barn. Inside the barn, they found what was left of May Ford, Ian Ford's wife. Yeah, and I'm not saying any of this because this is just screwed up. The police continued to investigate, and after investigating some more, the police found Fiona Ford's head wrapped in a blanket. But even after witnessing the most disgusting things ever, the police continue to investigate. They decide to investigate the second stall of the barn. According to the police, this stall had the worst smell. Inside the stall, police found several faces nailed to walls. This just shows the artistic vision the killer was going for. Honestly, a true mastermind of his craft. But in the middle of the stall was a big-ass pig. The stomach of the pig was stitched together, so the police undid the stitches and found Ian Ford's not very alive body. After looking around the second stall, the police take a visit to the tack room and find a bunch of paintings. And some of the paintings are referencing some of the people we've seen in this video and the previous. But after all these paintings are shown, we are told that a broken VHS tape was found outside the barn. On the tape was, whatever the hell this is. But yeah, I think it's just best we move on from this video. The next video is titled Family. The video opens with a message describing the recent murders that took place. One of the victims was an elementary school teacher, Isabel Jackson. While Isabel was calling 911, the address she provided led police to a completely different crime scene. The address she provided led to a house that belonged to a family of 3. These 3 family members were Paul, Janice, and their child Zeke. Paul and Janice were found dead in the kitchen. Their son Zeke is still missing. Inside of the house was a painting. The title was Pipes. After some more investigating, the police managed to track down the real address of Isabel, but they couldn't make it in time. Isabel's husband, Bruce, was found dead by the entrance of the house. A painting was found near the body. The painting was titled Infinite Ma Bruce. The body of Isabel was found in the washroom. The lock of the washroom door was destroyed by a hammer drill. Isabel was killed by the same hammer drill used to destroy the lock. A note was put inside the body of Isabel and read, "I live where I can't breathe and eat without teeth. What am I?" After the police read the note, they discover a major clue in this case. There were 2 sets of footprints on the bathroom floor. This basically proved the 2-killer theory. The police are now certain that the killer does not work alone. But before I move on to the final thoughts, there was a 911 call in this video that was pretty spooky. I'm not going to play it in this video, but if you want to check it out, the link to the video will be in the description. But with all that, let's move on. Now that we're done talking about the story, I'd like to just talk about the series as a whole really quickly. UrbanSPOOK does both good and bad things with this series. Let me explain. The series builds up these killers to be terrible people that don't deserve forgiveness. I do believe this is the case, but I think that the shock value should be toned down massively. Sometimes I just cringe at the edgy things in this series, especially with the In the Walls and the Pigs episodes. If you're gonna do these heavy topics in this series, fine, but at least have the decency to not do it in such heavy detail. It just comes across as trying too hard to be edgy. But to be honest, that's all for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.